Sorry for that. So as I was mentioning, so we have two products, and the first e-learning product is where we're looking to support the engagement between teachers and students in such a way we want to ensure that students receive a personalized learning experience and what we call in mastery-based experience or skill-based learning. And we'll be able to show you through across, actually one of our focus today is what exactly is skill-based learning and how can we achieve that for the students, and also what exactly is skill-based teaching. So that is our first e-learning platform, and I think my colleagues have showed you what our e-learning platform looks like. And over the next training sessions, then we'll be having an interactive sessions where you'll be able to do a bunch of activities on the e-learning platform that we have. And the second product, and that's how we've engaged much with Liquid Telecom, is about STEAM, or some others might say STEM education, where we want to train students to have 21st century workforce skills. So our focus with Liquid Telecom is a training on STEM education with what we call Internet of Things. And we've been doing this training across different schools and different counties. So that's just an overview of the two products that we have. And for this training, much of the focus will be on the e-learning. But at the end, in one of the sessions, then we'll also jump to what the STEM education training looks like. And so, so when we speak about what really are the benefits of using Angaza Elimu, or what we've just identified is that we try and look at the three stakeholders of education. And of course, much focus between the teacher and the student. And when we speak about the student is, what exactly is this we're speaking about personalized learning? And us trying to understand the specific student needs that we can use and how best we can meet these student needs. And also, one of the things that we've really been dedicated is that learning or teaching does not start and stop in the classroom, so students can learn anywhere, and also teachers can teach from anywhere without having to go into the physical classroom. So that's why we're all speaking about these virtual classrooms. And then much about peer learning and collaboration, and about the rich digital content that you're giving to these students. And then when we come into the teachers, and that's why we're having a huge focus here, is where we want to show you how teachers, you can use the benefit of e-learning to ensure that you can understand these students' needs and deliver these customized instructions that we're speaking about. And that can only come through when we give in recommendations or actionable insights from the data that we derive in. And then for parents, of course, we want to involve them to be part of this journey, and how can they receive actual notification on how students are progressing and contribute to the progress of students' progress to you teachers. So those are a bunch of areas that we'll be touching over the training in the next few sessions. And for the work that we've been doing, I mean, we started doing this 3 years ago, and we've really driven great impact in the space. I mean, when we did an impact assessment last year, we saw that students had made a very great improvement of about 24%. And this was, again, a huge focus on primary school. We just shifted to working in high school. But then that has really given us a very good feedback on the work that we're doing and the impact that we're driving by students improving their learning outcomes. And then through the STEM education, we managed to train more than 14,000 students, and this is equipping them or getting ready for the workforce. When we look at the teachers, we're looking at we know that you have a lot of tasks that you to do. So we want to take away all these administrative burden tasks as routine assessments, monitoring the progress, generating reports, building also of content. And then you can focus more time in doing the personalized instruction for the students. And then back onto the parents, I mean, we know that all education, accessing educational resources is expensive. So when you have students, children being subscribed on the platform, then in a year, parents have managed to save, I mean, $78K, that's around 7.8 million Kenyan shillings, because they have access to all educational resources on the platform. So these are just a bunch of key point in areas that came when we did our impact assessment late last year. So into what now we're speaking about this remote teaching and remote learning. What exactly now do we are we exactly speaking about? So what we basically is we're looking in terms of what exactly happened in a normal classroom. How can you shift this to happen in a digital platform? And all the components, right? From when you're doing your lesson planning, when you're developing your lesson notes, when you are having students access these, when you're also delivering the virtual classrooms via digital platform, and then also how are you checking to ensure that the students are progressing. So these are a bunch of the pillars, but according to each of these, then we now dig deeper to derive more other pillars that I'll be able to show on one of my next slide. But this is just a general scope of what remote teaching implementation looks like. But then now when we come about remote teaching, then now there's the component of students that we call in remote learning. Now, what exactly does that involve for students really be engaged in a digital platform so that they can clearly gain a lot of value from what the teacher is teaching? So we've come up with a model that we call flipped classroom. And this typically ensures that students are able to, it's divided into 3 areas where students, before they come into the virtual classroom, can they access the digital content that we've prepared? Can they take assessments so that we can give you insights, the teacher, for you to understand where these students are? And when they come into the classroom, then the students, it's more of what we call an inquiry-based approach. And after that, then when you deliver the content, then you can teach, you can add more value to the students and give what we call summative assessments. And then later on, then now you can look at what is the impact, what is the learning outcome, what are the insights, or how are the students progressing. So we've divided these across also 3 pillars: before, during the virtual classroom, and after the virtual classroom. And with such an engagement, then how exactly does personalized learning look like? So typically, as I mentioned, personalized learning is where we look into respect that not all students are equal and each student have their own learning ability. Then how can we cater for every student learning ability and ensure that we can deliver or we can adapt the content or assessments that we're giving depending on their ability or what we call the cognitive domains or ability of learners. So with this system, we're able now to show you, to identify which are the students' strengths and gaps. And from those strengths and gaps, then how can now you customize as a teacher, or how can you use the platform to help you customize a learning path for every student? And from these insights, now what is the action or recommendation that you're giving according to the learning path for every student? So so with that, that's an introduction of what we're looking about, of what the research that we've done and we've seen that works about both the remote teaching and remote learning. And once you combine those, then you get in the personalized learning path for students. And for the aim of this training now, and why we decided to have this training and across different sessions, is that I think what most of companies are doing, or what most people are doing, is that we're failing to really equip teachers with the right skills for them to understand what are the real e-learning pedagogies, or how can you use e-learning to your own maximum benefit. And from what just I've shown you across the different items of remote teaching and remote learning, then we came up with very good 6 pillars where we believe that these are the right pedagogies of learning. So if you get these right, then depending on any digital platform that you're using, then you are able to really deliver great value to the learners, and then also the learners are able to get really maximum impact being on a digital platform that you are using. So for these e-learning pedagogies are not any different from what you do in a normal classroom. So when you speak about, I mean, you teachers already do lesson planning, you teachers develop content, you teachers develop assessments, you teachers have a lot of collaboration when you're teaching in the classroom, you teachers do progress analytics, and you provide feedback to the students in a normal classroom. So what we've just done is looking at what exactly you do in your day-to-day normal classroom, in the physical classroom, then how can you translate these to happen on a digital platform? And over the next, so for today, we'll just touch on the first pillar, which is the lesson planning, and which I'll emphasize is a very key critical pillar that we're going to have. It will be a building block for all the other 5 pillars, because we'll keep coming back to relate and see the lesson planning that you did. And And so at that point, I mean, if anyone has a question before we dive into this pillar, maybe you could just raise your hand. One thing I also want to say is that we're looking to have these sessions as most as interactive. So it's not just me being the facilitator speaking, but we can have you teachers filling in and raising your hands in case there is any issue that arises. So if anyone has a question, then they can just raise their hand and my colleagues will be able to handle. So anyone with a question at this point? Okay, so if there is no question, then I think we'll just jump to this specific pillar that was meant for today. And so when you speak about lesson planning, I know you teachers have these are huge, massive thing that you do before you can start teaching, and also you have what we call the schemes of work, which is a major thing. And for us to really drive what we call in personalized instruction, then now we're drifting away from, as I mentioned, knowledge-based learning to skill-based learning. And how we're looking into this is rather than we're not and these pillars that we're giving, we're not saying that we stop from the normal schemes of work that you do and all that. So these are just support pillars that we're giving you. So in this point, when we speak about lesson planning, so we're looking at so for example, for those who are maths teachers, in terms of maybe you are working on a specific item like subtopic, and how our digital platform is divided is that we might not really jump into the specific lessons, but we're looking into, according to what the syllabus says, then can you look at like the math syllabus and look at like the topics in Form 1 and the specific subtopics. So what we categorize as more of like a lesson, or where we want to build these lesson planning skills, is around a subtopic. And so for me, like for my scenario case, I was just looking in terms of maybe I'm a teacher and I'm teaching about place value in Form 1 math. Then how, depending on the objectives that I have on my schemes of work, then how can I translate these objectives to be supported by different skills? So for example, and when we're speaking about these skills, we want him to look into terms of how these skills students can even move from basic knowledge to application and synthesis and application into real life. And how this activity will look like into this first scenario of it is like, you as a teacher, maybe you can look in terms of, depending on the subject that you teach, then you can just choose a specific subtopic relating to a specific topic. And then you can look at the objectives that are there and try and look into those, what are the skills that you can derive from those specific objectives. So like for my case, I just took like in total value or place value. Then when I was looking about understanding the significance of all digits in the number and finding the place value using the digit chart. I mean, this completely relates to you as a teacher, depending on the objectives that you have. Again, here, this is just a support, and you as a teacher, you clearly understand what are the objectives that you have. So, and you'll be in a position to be able to set the right skills that you want for the student to master the concept that you're introducing. And so we'll come back to what the activity would look like in a few. So for us to be guided to do these skills in the lesson planning, then we're looking about this, the cognitive domain or abilities of learners around them getting the knowledge, them getting to understand the facts about comprehension, application of the knowledge in a new situation. This could be even in a real life situation, the analysis, and then we also having synthesis and evaluation, making the judgment to know if the skill was while acquired. And I'm pretty sure these are very these are not new things to you teachers. These are things that you apply in your daily life. But then we're looking in terms of how can we have this translated to the actual skills plans that we can have for every subtopic. And the reason why I say that these skills, the lesson planning and the skill plan is going to be very critical block is that in such and that a way, once, for example, you've built you've built like the scales for place value, then now how can you use that scales now to guide you to build interactive digital component content that relate to those skills that you're presenting out there to the students. So that's the first thing. So you're using those skills to build the right content that you want the students to master the concept. And after then you built the content, then now we're looking about building adaptive assessments. So for us, here one thing that we've really managed to do quite well is what we call adaptive assessments. And here is where we're looking at about giving the right questions to the students depending on their ability. So for example, you've managed to pick about 5 skills according to the cognitive domain. So you have like skills on comprehension, skills on analysis, skills on knowledge, skills on synthesis. Then how can you develop assessments to relate to those? Again, we'll be here in one of the next sessions, we'll also be speaking about digging deeper to understand what adaptive assessments looks like, and then we'll also be bringing about the concept that you all teachers know about the Bloom's taxonomy. And then the formative assessment, when you look into our platform or when you dig in deeper, we have divided our assessments into 2. So we're looking at about formative assessments. Remember when I mentioned about the flipped classroom is where the students, you're able to give quizzes for the students to work on themselves before you, the teacher, training. And then once you teach the students, then now you can give what we call summative assessment to understand what is the mastery level of these students. And then this skills plan, lastly, it will be able to help you as a teacher to really track what's the progress, what's at the mastery level of these students. So that really touches on the issue of evaluation. So for our task today and how we're looking into this is we want to help you to have this more interactive. So if I could just go quickly. So we've built this template for you. If you can see my screen, I could probably try and enlarge these. Yeah, so we'll be able to share this this template with you, where you can be able to either work on a scenario basis, choose maybe a specific choose a specific subject, do the topic, and create a skills plan around that. For me, my case, like I just came here and my scenario was in Form 1, math, numbers, and place value. And I was able to type into this template, and then I was able to build like my first 2 skills. So at this juncture, maybe for this task, will allow us so that we can just do this on the template. But moving forward, starting from next week, then now we'll be able to consolidate all this information together in a central e-learning platform, which will be my next point, which I'm just going to show you here. So I know for most of you, and when my colleagues are speaking to you, we've had like we're using different teaching platforms or learning platforms. And as I mentioned when I was starting, so we built this interactive e-learning platform that supports you, the teacher. And so just super quickly, how you're able to access this is by going to our website, which is www.angazaelimu.com. And from there, you're able to create account. I know most of you have managed to create accounts in this platform. And the next thing that we're also going to work on is we're going to set up specific like school accounts for you teachers that will be using, because all these materials that we'll be uploading will be coming to your specific account. So how to access this is just from any device that you're using, and you can just type www.angazaelimu.com and you're able to view our platform. So I'll show you what you'll be using for the skills base and moving forward. So I just typically use my account. So here I'm just logged in as a teacher. And so as a teacher, as I mentioned, so each of all these items will represent that I was able to. And at this point, so for example, so I've just asked that if you give us more time to build the issue of the skill plan template. So you just work it on the document, but moving forward, starting from next week, before you come to the next training session, then we'll have a tab here that's written like lesson planning. And how that will work is that you'll be able to query. So for example, if I use the upload notes, which will be our next training session, and if you click on the lesson planning, so it will be able to list for you the specific subjects that you teach in. So like, for example, mine was secondary math, and then you can have the different classes, and then you'll be able to query the different topics from the system, and it'll be able to show you the different subtopics. So that's how we just categorizing the data of or the content structure on our platform. So for example, when we share the skills, the link for building the skills plan, then once you query like place value, then we'll be able to just type in the different skills that you will be building. And that will be readily available to all teachers in your school that you are working with. I mean, and this, we're also looking to see if we can have this skills plan shown out to the students so that they can understand what is exactly the aim that they are going to achieve when they tackle a certain specific subtopic. But for today, my colleagues after this call, we just sent you this template where you can work on your specific area. And once you do the specific skills plan, then you can share with us, and our team can be able to guide and show you, like, depending on the skills that you build, and we can have more discussion one-on-one around that. Another thing that I didn't mention is that we're looking into having, after every session, we're looking into having a feedback session for every teacher. That's a one-on-one where our team will be able to engage you to understand how the training session was and the task that you did, how you found it, and how helpful and valuable it was in that specific. So you'll allow me to stop there at this point, and then I'll open it up for any teacher who has a question, and then we'll be able to continue from that. So any teacher who has a question, maybe you could just unmute yourself, and then we can continue from there.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Mulo.
Yes, this is Mulo from Kapsara.
Okay, yes.
So I've seen you demonstrate about the website.
Yes.
The Angaza website. So when are you going to make it active so that when the teachers log in, can be able to maybe navigate through the same as you have just shown us?
Oh, yes. So on the next steps, yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Mulo, for that. So our team will be able to share with you accounts depending on the schools that you are in. And then we'll be able also to share videos or recordings, just like tutorials on how you can be able to navigate from one point to the other. That's from like signing in, since you'll have an account, from signing in to accessing the different features for the teachers and also for the students. So there will be a tutorial that will be shared after this that just has a screen recording on how you can maneuver from one point of the platform to the other. So we'll be able to share that a few days after this call. Oh, sorry, Mr. Muller, did you get me right, or can I repeat that? So I was just saying, sorry, sorry for the.
I've not gotten you. There is a lot of sound breakdown from your end.
Oh, okay, sorry, sorry for that, sir. So what I was saying is, so right after this, my colleagues will share accounts with all of you, the teachers, that will be created. And these are accounts that we'll be using to access the platform and to do all these activities across the different pillars that we're training about. And then once we share the accounts, then we'll also have what we call tutorials just to show you how you can maneuver from one feature of the product to the other. So we'll be able to send you like guidelines on moving from one feature of the platform to the other. But if just super quickly, if I could just share the screen again, it's that the platform is quite easy to use. So as I said, once you just go to your browser, key in or just search about Angaza Elimu, and of course that will be the first appearance that you see. Then click the word there, Angaza Elimu, and it directly sends you to our website. Or else you can also type www.angazaelimu.com. And once this is the landing page, once you receive an account, what you just typically do is click here on sign in. And then once you receive an account, the account will have a username and a password. So for my case, for example, I just use my password, my username that I have, and then I'll enter my password. And then I'll be able to log in. And immediately you log in. So if you log in as a teacher, it directly sends you to this feature that we call a teacher dashboard. So this teacher dashboard is what we'll be using across the different pillars that I showed, right from building content, which will be on the upload notes, building assessments, which will be upload assignments, and then students and assignment progress, about tracking how the students are progressing. So the only feature that I said that we don't have currently is the lesson plan feature that we're building, and we expect it to be ready before the training session, and we'll send you an update once that feature is done. But how exactly that feature works is, for example, you want to build skills plan for a specific area, is that, so I'll use the upload notes just for demonstration, but once the feature will come right between the assignment progress and the upload notes. So once you receive that feature, then you just click on the feature, and like from the template, as I said, how we divide our content structure is in terms of the different subjects and the different classes and the different topics and subtopics. So like, for example, for me here, I was showing you, my scenario was in Form 1, Math. So for example, if I come here and I choose secondary math, don't choose math because the other math will be for primary school, but we'll give you a direction. So you'll come and find different subjects listed here. So for example, if you are, I understand you all are high school teachers. So there are subjects that are both in high school and primary, especially the core subjects, which are the maths, the languages, and the religious education subjects. And those will be, for those that are in high school, they'll have the notation before the name, they'll have the notation secondary math, secondary Swahili, secondary English. Yes. So here, for example, I'll choose secondary math, and then I'll come and choose the class, which is Form 1. And then the system, we've already uploaded for you all the different topics for the specific subject. Then you'll choose the natural numbers. For example, I chose natural numbers, which is the first topic. And then we'll have the different subtopics listed here. And so I probably choose the place value. And then you'll have a button like this one when you're able to type in all your skills plan. And then it will be uploaded into the platform, and then you can just click the submit button. But we'll send you a notification once that skills plan feature is already built into the platform. But meanwhile, what we just check in for the activity is that you can use, we'll share this document that we call in the skill plan template, and you can just input what your skill plans building looks like at that specific point. I do hope that, and so other features that we look in, we'll be building on the next session would be, how do you now develop content? How do you build assignments? How do you check the progress? How do you give feedback? And then the beauty of this, when I was saying there's the coordination between the students and teachers, is so once you have your account, then we can also ask you to share a bunch of students now so that you can use them to access the platform. So for them, once they log in into the platform, what they see. If I could just log in as a student here. Oh, sorry. So once students log in, unfortunately, the account that I have here is for primary school. Once they log in, they see the different subjects listed here, and they can be able, again, to select the different topics and subtopics and access the content. And also similarly, you as a teacher, you're able to view what the students are viewing. So here is, as I mentioned, what we already logged in is what we call the teacher dashboard. But then we have here what we call the learn. This is what the students are accessing, or whatever materials that you're preparing to go to the students, they come to this specific point. And you as a teacher, you're able to view the same. So for example, some of the content that we built, I mean, you'll see the high school subjects all listed here. So I could probably query maths. You'll have the different classes listed here. And after every, for example, if I choose Form 1, then I can have the different topics listed here for Form 1 math. And if I click any of those topics, then it will give me a drop down that shows the different subtopics. And then I could just query that specific subtopic. And then we have a bunch of components here. So for us as a company, we've built content that you can use as teachers before. So some of the content that we build comes here into this specific platform or this area where the students can read this content by themselves. But when we go into the next training session, when we're showing you how to build content, so it will come here on the specific teacher's notes. So anytime you build content, and this content, you can upload any type of material into your teacher's notes. Could it be like a PDF document? Could it be a picture that you just took your phone and you can use your phone to upload that into the platform for the students to view? Maybe it's a video that you found out there. It all comes here. So the system is able to accommodate as many documents as possible. And then when we come into what we build, as I mentioned about formative assessments, is what we call like the quizzes, is where we built a bunch of quizzes here. And then you as a teacher, what you'll be building as assignments or summative assignments will come into this specific point. So in the next, across, as I said, we'll be having different training sessions across all these specific components about the notes we built, about the notes that you're going to develop. Actually, that's going to be our next training session. And after that, then now we'll jump into about the assessments, which will touch between the assignments and quizzes, and we'll touch about the collaboration area. So that's just a quick overview of what the platform looks like, but we'll follow up with a video tutorial showing how you can navigate into the platform. So I do hope that answers the question. Mr. Muller, I do hope that answers the question, right?
Yes, you've answered my question, and I think it is okay. I'm satisfied.
Great, you must.
On the same note,
yes,
I would like to also to ask this. Now that we are some of the teachers, I'm sure we are not all the teachers from my institution.
Yes.
Who are currently in this program.
Yes.
So after the session or after the training is over, or during in the course of the training, am I the one who is going to add the teachers and the students, or I'll submit the name to you so that you can create for them?
Yeah. So at the moment we can add them, but we are working into an area where you can be able to have an area where you can add your own students. So you'll have what we call, we can share that, what we call the admin portal, where you're able to add teachers in your school and students in your school. But just at the moment, you can allow us to add them by themselves as we work across that. You're welcome, Mr. Mola. I see that Mr. John Mirenga has just asked a question. So yeah, so our team will send in the credentials either by early morning tomorrow or late in the afternoon today. So you'll have all the credentials. I believe you've shared the specific schools that you come from, so we'll be able to send that to you. Another question or feedback? I know I might have been super quickly fast. Don't worry, we'll send some of the slides that we've just shared with the activity as a follow-up so that you can just do. Then we'll also have, we've also recorded these. So we'll also share the recording so that you can also watch it at your own time as a follow-up.
If I may. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, my name is Mchujo Siangani.
Yes.
I'm attending this session and I'm realizing that we have an almost similar arrangement.
Yes.
With Liquid Telecom of forming online platforms where teachers and learners engage.
Yes.
But then considering the populace, chances are we in the interior, like my school is actually in the interior part.
Yes.
The session is only being accessed by a handful of individuals. Could there be a possibility where the catchment of the number of students could be enhanced using this program?
Okay, so if I do get you right, and thank you for that, do you mean in terms of students attending these trainings?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so we're looking into first doing the teacher trainings. And then once we do the teacher trainings, then now we can maybe move on to students trainings. Now this will be more one-on-ones. Like for example, for your school, if you want us to do training for the students, then we can organize for such a specific arrangement. But for first, we were first wanted to start with training the teachers, and then once they get the gist or they can clearly understand what the platform looks like, then we can now move on into training the students. And I know, yeah, the training that you've had with Liquid Telecom about the school websites and all that. So once you have your school websites, how you are trained by Liquid Telecom is that we'll have a plugin of our platform into that school website, or just where maybe you can click a link to access our platform. So we're still working to see how that can be combined into the school websites that we're building.
Okay.
Yeah. Another question or feedback on the area that we've just touched?
Kiko, there is someone here, Teacher Amos Kiptum, is asking if you could kindly talk about payments and subscription fee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Amos, for that question. Yeah, that's a great area. So about the platform, so for teachers to access, it's completely free. So we don't charge teachers to use our platform. The only subscription fee that we're looking to introduce sometime next year is once we have some of onboarding of the students. But currently, up to next year, the platform will be completely free, so that we can all first understand how to use the platform, how to gain maximum value for the platform. But then coming sometime next year, then we can have the discussions with your schools, because this will be more of like looking into being rolled out into the schools. And typically, we look in form of subscriptions for students, either termly, so where maybe every child is just paying about 500 shillings. And if you decide to pay annually, so it doesn't come to 1,500, but we pay at 1,300 shillings for every term. So that's the introduction that we're looking into, having the conversations once schools resume, on how maybe we can build the students. But for the students, it's completely free. Another thing that we're also looking is once your school accepts to use our platform, then we're looking into having also what we call license fees. Instead of charging every student head, then we can just do volume discounts. So where we could just say we're charging a school a specific amount, which is way much lower than counting every student per head. So those are discussions that we're looking to have once the schools open. But the current subscription is that individually, or if a student decides to subscribe individually, it would just be 500 per term. In a year, it will be 1,300 shillings. In a month, it will be 200 shillings. In a week, it would be 80 shillings. But when coming to school-based, then we're looking into taking those charges quite lower because of the huge number of students that will be being subscribed. So I do hope that answers the question, Mr. Amos. Yes, Mr. Amos?
Hello, Mr. Kiko.
Yes, Mrs. Nancy.
Yes, I'm Nancy from St. Beda's Bukaya.
Yes.
My question is, are we the ones to feed in information about the topic, the subtopic, or you are the ones to feed in the information about a given subject?
Do you mean like the creation or about the lesson plan?
Yeah, like for example, the lesson plan.
Yes.
Like for example, I'm looking at your that wall.
Yes.
The website.
Yes.
It has nothing completely about the subjects. Like for example, computer.
Yes.
About any topic, there's completely nothing. So are we the ones to upload the details of the subtopic, the topic of a given subject?
No. So thank you for raising that. Yeah, that's a great point. So we are the one who are going to upload the specific topic and subtopic names for all the subjects. So we're currently working on that. What we've just had is we've managed to do everything for math, and then now we've managed to do for English. So now we're rolling it down to do all the rest of the subject, so that when you start building, then you can build that. So we create for you the topics and the subtopics, and then for you, you'll just be able to feed in the lesson plan and the content and some of the quizzes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome. So we'll be able to fill all that information. Yes, Mr. Mulo.
I have a point of concern.
Yes.
Of which I know maybe some of us and maybe majority of the teachers may not be in a position to talk about.
Yes.
But allow me to talk on their behalf.
Absolutely.
Yeah, now, at the moment,
yes,
we can say that we are not in schools.
Yes.
And of course, some of the teachers maybe are on the BOM.
Yes.
And, now getting the time to be online and, it is consuming data because it is consuming, you have to spend, definitely.
Yes.
For you to be in a position to access these lessons. And you say that they are going to be there for the next 6 weeks.
Yes.
So as on behalf of the teachers to Angaza,
yes,
what are you going to do so that maybe in one way or the other, you may facilitate the teachers who may not be in a position to access or maybe to be online in the next 6 weeks because of one or two issues, and we're bearing in mind that BAM teachers at the moment are not receiving any payment.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mulo. Yeah, that's really a great concern. And we're working to see currently if we can be able to facilitate bundles for you teachers. So that's one thing, and we should be able to give you feedback. So there's a process we're working with partnerships so that we can be able to give you data for you to come online for these trainings, so that it doesn't become a burden on your side. So we should be able to give you an update before the next training, if that has been as successful. But the conversation are really going well, and we hope to provide data for you teachers to attend the training. And then also when you come in to access the platform, so in a few weeks or so, we'll also be sharing, especially for the students that who might not be able to access the platform because of internet costs. So we'll be able to be sending you a mobile application that will be much of it will require the student to just be offline or not needing internet to access the mobile application, but they'll be able to access all these features without access to the internet. So we've built that application, and we should be able to release to you in a few weeks, so that we really remove the burden, the internet cost burden, especially for the student. And then we'll also replicate the same app for the teachers too. Because internet, we've realized, is one of the biggest challenge into ensuring that there's good e-learning progress. So we're working into moving much of the things offline for the e-learning. For these sessions, we're looking into providing data bundles for the teachers. So my team will be able to send you an update, and then you'll be able to, once Safaricom approves that, then they'll be able to load data. The only thing that we're looking currently is just for Safaricom users. The other telecom companies, it has not been possible, so we're looking to just asking you if maybe you could just be a Safaricom user so that you can have the bundles loaded directly into your SIM card.
I believe that will be good for the teachers, and I believe that is a nice move. We appreciate.
You're most welcome.
Was we are acting. Oh my God. Yeah. Any more questions from you, teachers? Okay, thank you, Mr. Josephat. allow me, if there are no more questions, then I'll briefly discuss on the action points. So after this, you receive a call from the team, and first of all, we will create accounts for you. And yeah, we create the teacher accounts for you. And at some point, we will ask you to give us a list of a few of your students, so that for the next training, which is on content development, we can have a more of engaging training, because you'll be having some few activities, you interacting with the platform as we teach you how to build the digital content. And then we will also share a skills plan template later after, so that you can fill it out as you do the activity at your own free time. And we will also give you an update on the issue of data bundles. So those are the action points after this meeting that you will receive calls from the team, trying to just follow up how the meeting and the training went for today. Thank you. And one more request, I can see 2 teachers are using a device. I can't see your name. So one is using Tecno and the other one is Huawei. So for the purpose of, we promise to send you certificates after the training. So we keep track of your attendance, so that we are able to see how to, first of all, we will need to write the name there. So if we can't see your name, and it will be quite hard. So kindly, you can edit the names on your device, or briefly just chat your name at the chat box, so that we can note them down for just to keep track of the attendance. Yeah. If there are no more questions, we will just call it a day for now. And thank you so much for attending today's session. We hope it was of much benefit to you. Thank you, Mr. John. And yeah, so there's just one more. If you could please just share your name, I'd be very grateful. Otherwise, thank you so much for attending today's session. We hope to see you again, and we will keep on communicating to you on when the next training is.